Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. This is episode 4 of the spin-off, the England Cricket Podcast. We are currently working through creating a depth chart around English red ball cricket. Who should open, who should bat at 3, 6, all rounder, wicket keepers, bowlers. We're going through it all. Last time around, if you've not checked it out, please go do so. We created the top 10 list of English batters. And now we're in a position where we're looking at number 3s. Who's the best number 3 batter in the country? What, spoiler alert, just like last week, the person that's going to be ranked number 1 is the person in sole contention or ownership of that role, which is Joe Root. And then we're going to go through and create a top 8 list here. So, yeah, exciting. I really enjoyed last week, Rich. We had a lot of feedback. A lot of people enjoyed it. And it's a good way for everyone to kind of get across what people are doing around the country.
Absolutely. And we've done an 8 this week. Only 8, Rob. That's an interesting one for me because it was a top 10 for the openers, but there are 2 positions up for grabs for the openers, and so therefore there are more openers than there are number 3s. That's math. But I'd like to say that the people that, who have we missed out? Fill in the 9 and 10 for us. I think that's the way. We're going to hand that over to everybody
Honourable
else.
mentions, and I came up with a few. I thought Tom Westley deserves a little bit of a nod. He's, been a decent county championship player.
Yes.
Also played a couple of tests for England. Nick Gubbins, who was more of an opener, but has kind of fallen into a number 3 role in county championship cricket. He's averages 32 in county championship cricket, and he's just below an average county championship top 6 player. So he gets an honourable mention. Gary Balance deserves one. Not on things that he's done, but he's just been a high-performing county championship player for a long period of time. Not talking about person, not talking about international cricket. And the other one's Joe Denley, who got a decent body of work in county championship cricket, didn't quite make the grade at test match cricket, hasn't made our list. Is there anyone else you would say?
No, I mean, when you mentioned Gubbins, you could even say Daniel Bell-Drummond if he's going to slot in at number 3 more often. They were 2 of my little darlings, weren't they, of previous years? But no, I think that's about it for me. But tell us, obviously, listen to the list first and then tell us who we've missed out. Who should be 9 and 10? Or even be more controversial, tell us who should be even higher.
That's it. And then to break it down, so you're going to hear me talking about something called Performance Plus. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see these things on the screen. But essentially, there's a 3-year rolling average of county championship cricket for top 6 batters. The average, 33.60. That is an average county cricket top 6 player. They get out every 68.53 deliveries. They score less than 10 every 37% of the innings. They score over 50 every 22% of the innings. And they score over 100 every 5% of the innings. Now, some of those might seem high or low to you. They are slightly inflated at the moment from a very good start to 2022. But that is what an average county cricket top 6 player looks like. And like we said on the podcast last week, Tricks, there's nothing wrong with being an average county championship cricketer because that makes you very, very good at playing cricket and a highly touted professional in the county game. It's just when we're talking about England, you really want to be finding elite talent based on many different things. But the one thing we've come up with is Performance Plus, and that is how do they perform against a standard county championship cricketer, something they use in baseball, and it's something we've moved across here. So you'll hear me talking about that quite a lot. Rich, let's crack into it. Top 8, who makes number 8?
Number 8 is the discarded England number 3, Dawid Malan. He now of Yorkshire. 34 years of age, over 202 first-class appearances, 12,000 runs. Number 8. Is that fair? Is that high? Is that low?
Oh, you know what? In terms of his performance and all the stats that you're going to hear me talking about, so they are over the last 4 county championship seasons. I can't do a career. I can't look at someone's body of work across a career. We need a few more recent things, but it can't be too recent where you need to know enough about them to work out whether they're good or not. Dawid Malan is exceptional. And out of all the performance rankings that we've been doing, I've ranked him actually as the 5th best performing county championship top 6 player in the country. Why is he ranked at 8 on this list? Because I don't believe he is the right person to go and bat for England at number 3. We've seen him go and do okay in periods, but both stays in Test cricket have been a case of score some runs, look really good, get found out, start to fade away. And we've seen that twice now, 2017, I think it was, and 2021-22, we saw that. So I don't feel England will go back to him at any stage. However, he is exceptionally talented. He's not sneaky old. He is old in terms of cricketing.
He's just old.
Ages. He's 34. Like that. Okay, that's younger than us, but it's still on the older side of the scale of what you'd look for from an England number 3 potentially coming in. Maybe 28, 29 is like a peak sort of time, but his county championship record is exceptional. I've got him with a 165 performance plus rating, which means generally he's 65% better across those 5 metrics that we gave than an average county championship top 6 player. So he's top draw. He's just not England quality in Test match cricket, and I don't believe England will go back to him.
I think that's it, isn't it? When we're looking at this ranking, this is more about who we think now is in position to play. So Joe Root is that number 3, and if he decides to stay at number 3, this is pretty much a wasted conversation. But if he decides to move himself down to 4, suddenly it opens that gate up for who can be a number 3. And it's not just its performance, but it's also who we think is the right ranking, isn't it? Who will be that England number 3. So that's where we're looking at. And we believe at the minute, Dawid Malan, although he did okay for England, it was only okay, and I don't think they'll go back to him for number 3. So let's get on to number 7 then. Somebody I put much higher, and it's probably the only reason he's on the list, Ben Duckett. Nottinghamshire's Ben Duckett. He played for England. He did. He did play for England. He has 4 Test matches, only 110, but he does have 1 half century and a first-class career of over 7,000 runs. 282 not out as a high score in 111 appearances. What do you make of this, Rob? What do you think? Is Ben Duckett? You know, we've got a friend of ours, Dave Bracegirdle, that commentates for Nottinghamshire for BBC. He says that he believes Ben Duckett will be playing for England in one format or another this summer. He's a 3-format player, but Test match, do you think that he has a chance of batting at 3?
I think he's playing for England this year. I just don't think it's red ball cricket. And that's purely because I think there's other players scoring more runs than what Ben Duckett is doing. However, Ben Duckett has put together an exceptional 4 years of cricket, batting in the top 6, 1,423 runs in the county championship. An average of 41.85 is great. He averages 25% better than the average county cricketer, and his overall performance plus is 125, so 25% better than the average county cricketer. Why then didn't I score him higher? And I think I've touched on it. One, there's only 4 centuries over those last 4 years, 1 a season. I want to see a few more centuries. I hope my theory works when I go up this list. I'm not entirely sure that it is going to, but that's what I'm saying here. Yeah. I just think there's guys who are better suited that I think England are going to prefer. I think Ben Duckett is an absolutely exceptional white ball player, and he's an exceptional red ball player. White ball cricket, he'll be in the England T20 setup sooner rather than later. Red ball cricket, I want to see him in, but I'm not entirely convinced he'll be a number 3 if he came into this England lineup. And I think that's why I've gone slightly lower than you on him. Yeah,
absolutely. I think when we get into the middle order, the 4, 5, 6, or however you want to carve that up, maybe we just talk about 4 and 6 at the moment. He's probably a more prominent conversation, isn't it? But he's started the season well, 31 followed by 122 and 95 in the same fixture against Glamorgan, and then 54 in this last week. He's a decent player. He's got 20 first-class centuries. I think that's the thing. He's not scoring enough at the moment, and we'll say this time and time again, and we said it in the last roundup of the County Championship pod. Players who want to play for England, it's no good just averaging 40 and 50 and scoring those sort of scores. You need to go on and score hundreds. Get a few hundreds to your name. Stand yourself out. What else can you do? A lot of players can average 40 odd, and he does. As a career, he averages just a smidge under 40. And I know from your stats, Rob, overall that is a fantastic record.
It's a great
with the
record.
way averages are these days. So that's number 7. Let's get on to number 6. A little bit of a surprising name here, but it's Zach Crawley. He's already in the England team as an opening batsman, so we had him ranked either 1 or 2 in that one, but that was because he is the man in possession of that shirt. But we don't think long-term he is an opener for England. So he's in the conversation as number 3. He's in the conversation potentially as a number 5 or 6 as well, or a 4, 5, 6, depending on who bats where. So Zach Crawley, 24-year-old, test average 28.6, 21 tests to his name so far, which is a decent number already, and 73 first-class games. He only averages just over 30 in first-class cricket. with, let's have a look, 6 centuries, 2 centuries in Test match cricket. Why should we consider that man, those statistics, as a number 3, let alone that he's in the England team as an opener?
Well, he's in the team as an opener, and we're not sold on him being an opener in Test match cricket, because I think I had him ranked as the 21st best opener in County Championship cricket over the last 4 years. When we see his technique, we see him coming across the ball. He likes to score fast. He likes to hit hard. He drives hard. Just hard hands, really hard hands. But when he's on, he's exceptional. But what we've seen is someone who get a big score, go on and fail. He scored that 267 against Pakistan, went on a miserable run, scored a century against West Indies, finished the series really poorly. In fact, the next 5 innings that he played, it might not have been 5, it might have been 4, were pretty much non-existent. So that's why he's making the grade. I feel England may turn to him as a number 3 at some stage. I think they'll do it over going to a David Milan, for instance. But his record in batting in, it's not necessarily batting in the top 6 in County Championship cricket. For him batting from number 3 to number 6 in County Championship cricket, he's got a performance plus of 101, which is 1% greater than County Championship average. He averages 36 with the bat. There's 473 runs, 15 innings. They're not great numbers, but they're not great numbers as an opener, but England still chose him. So I think he's always going to be a part of this England conversation for a long time coming. Even if he fails a little bit as an opener, they may juggle things around and try and get him to fit in. They fit him at number 3. Hey, look, I've got 5 players above him on this list, or we've got 5 players above him on this list that we think's a better suit. But he probably is a part of a conversation around number 3.
Yeah, and the huge disclaimer, who's the, obviously Rob Key's been put in position now, but who's the coach going to be for the Test match, and who will be the captain? These are the important questions when they consider what they think of Zach Crawley. Is he an opener? Is he a 3? Is he in the team? Who knows? Who knows? Let's have a name that isn't a name that's usually associated with England, but we've got him as our 5th option here. Tom Abell. Tom Abell of Somerset. 97 first-class appearances, 5,188 runs, 150 not out top score, 900s, but 29 50s. That's not the best conversion rate ever. Tom Abell is a very, very talented player. He's somebody that's been on the up for a long time, it feels like, but not quite kind of built a case to say, yes, I should be the next player. Why should he be the next player? Or should he not be the best? He should be the 5th next player.
Yeah, exactly. He's 5th on the list. He's good. He's got a wonderful technique. It looks like he's got a great temperament and is really well thought of with his leadership ability that he's got going on. So I think he should be part of the conversation. Over the course of the last 4 years in County Championship cricket, there's 8 50s, there's 5 centuries. 10% of his innings, or almost 11% of his innings, turn into a century, which is actually not bad over that period of time. That's 50% better than a County Championship average player. I gave him a performance plus of 131.68, which is very reasonable. And he performs admirably across them all. In fact, all of them, he's probably 20 to 25% better than a County Championship average player. What he's got, he's 28. He's got bags of experience. He's been through a lot. He's highly thought of. He's got some captaincy experience, I think. I want to say that, but I need to go and check myself.
I'll confirm that. He's been captain since he was 23, and he's still captain now of Somerset. Exactly, so that's something that this England setup is sadly lacking, is players with captaincy
He's the sort of guy who could come in, and I'm not part of this conversation going, he could be England captain. Sure, he could in 3-4 years' time if he's a good enough Test cricketer. But you're looking for the right sort of people. He, to me, comes across as the right sort of person. I've watched him back quite a bit this year. Excellent technique. Looks really solid. Went and scored 150 this week just gone. And overall, from a performance ranking, I had him ranked 13th in the whole list of top 6 players that was eligible with 10 or more innings that was England eligible. So I think he's a good player. I don't think he's the next cab off the rank, obviously, with him being at 5 on this list. And he probably could bat in a multitude of positions as well. But he's good. He's a really good player, and he's a good sort of person to bring in.
Yeah, and it's absolutely the right. But he's the name that should be involved in these conversations. And whether people think he should be a little bit higher than this, I'll be interested to know, because there's a shout that he could be at least maybe 1 or 2 spots ahead. The last game he got up and running this year, first 2 games of the season he's not really performed, but this last game, 150 not out, which is his career high score, and 53. Go and score some more centuries. Go big if you can, Tom Abell, and who knows where you'll be by the end of the summer. Number 4, Rob, James Bracey. He had an opportunity for England, but with the gloves, due to a late injury, wasn't it, that put him down the order as well. He's a number 3. He sees himself as a number 3. Yes, he's a keeper, but first and foremost, he's a number 3 batsman. He is relatively young, isn't he? Still 24, just almost. May the 3rd birthday, so he's nearly 25. 2 Test matches appearances. We won't talk about that and the 8 runs that he scored across those 3 innings. He has over 3,000 runs in 56 first-class innings at an average of 36.25. And so far this season, he's hit 117 and 177. But he has 4 failures as well so far this summer. It's great to see that he's come back from that difficult time last summer. It's great to see that he's pushing himself and he's still batting at 3 and he still wants to be that guy. But the same question, really. Can he?
Can he? I think he can. I think he's good enough to play for England. We've seen some real good innings from him this year. 2 really good centuries like you had. I gave him a 117 performance plus rating, so 17% better. But he is, and some of the people we've spoke about maybe not so much, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them not so much, flitter around the order. James Bracey, for me, is a number 3. He likes number 3. He bats at number 3. That's the role that he takes on. What I'd like to see from James Bracey is a little bit more application. His balls per dismissal, for instance, taking that stat, 76, which is 11% better than league average. But if you look at someone who we're going to talk about later, they're talking about balls per dismissal in the hundreds, 114 or 105, those sorts of numbers. So if there's more occupation of the crease to go along and put some longer innings together, you're going to see that 100 rate go up. He scores 100 every 10% of his innings, which is, that's really good. That's 143 performance plus rating. But you're right, he does get out less than 10 a lot, unfortunately. And that's something that has to change because that gets called out really quickly in Test cricket. And the scrutiny and pressure of scoring low in Test cricket vastly outweighs what it does in County Championship cricket. 35% of his innings, he gets out less than 10. That's only 6% better than league average, which is about 33. So there's work to do, but there's every chance that James Bracey is a part of this England team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever takes over, they're going to be looking at him, absolutely certain of that. Whether he's absolutely there is another question. Him, same as Ben Duckett, really. They've both got that ability with the gloves as well, haven't they? Obviously, Bracey does keep in county, whereas Duckett doesn't, but Duckett can keep wicket. So it's another little string to the bow when we're looking at England in the future. Who knows? Bracey might make his way in a different format, maybe in the one-day side at some point, but England are quite blessed still in white ball with keepers. So let's get into the top 3, Rob. We know who number 1 is. So who is number 3? It's James Vince for us. I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair with where he is. He's 31 now, 13 Test match appearances, only averaging 24.9, which is not bad when you compare it to some. He did get 350s, but in 22 innings, that's not what you're looking for in a number 3. First class, 178 appearances, vast experience, 10,733 runs, average of a smidge under 40, 2,700s, 42 half centuries. Twitter's favourite. Get him in the next squad, everyone says. James Vince, is he a number 3 if Joe Root evacuates that position to number 4?
He's ranked high, and he's ranked high because he's a good player. He's been at 3 before. He's a better player now than what he was the last time he was playing Test match cricket. I firmly believe that he's a much better cricketer. His county championship record is exceptional. I've got him as the 14th best performing county championship top 6 player over that period of time. He's got a performance plus of 128, and I will share my screen and show you all these stats at the end. What do I like about him? He can score hundreds. He doesn't play as much cricket as other people, which is actually a slight concern. Hundreds he scores every 9% of his innings. Other people on this list score at a much higher rate. He does get to 50 quite nicely, which we actually spoke about on yesterday's podcast, was talking about it. Gets to 50, gets out, gets to 30, 40, can get out. Why have I rated him above Bracey? Well, I think it's just more experience, more rigour of Test match cricket, and probably more ready to come slotted into a 3 role if needed.
Yes.
Do I believe he can be a Test match cricketer? Yeah, I think I do. I think he's got a good enough game. I think my worry is that he is better than what he used to be. But Test match cricket's different to playing county championship cricket. How much is stored in the elephant bank up top to go, oh, yeah, this is how we bowl to James Vince. And if he starts getting out early on a call up to the England team, similar to how he used to, it's a whole world of hurt and it's going to come crashing down pretty quick.
Yeah, I think Vince and Bracey, that's similar conversation, aren't they? Bracey more so because obviously he had such a terrible time of it in his short run in the Test side. But Vince the same, isn't it? Vince did go on and get 100, his first 100 for England in the one-day side last summer. So that is a bit of a monkey off the back for him. But it's just whether or not he's got that extra quality in the Test side. We've spoke about it enough. The Ramprakases, the Hicks, those sort of players of this world. Vince is in that category of the ultra-talented first-class county cricketer. Yeah. But has he got that something? And it's not just ability, but it's that something, that X factor, whatever you want to call it, to step up and be a Test cricketer. And that's why he's at number 3. He's behind, and rightly so, behind this man, Josh Bohannon, Lancashire, 25-year-old bat. Local product, isn't he? He's only played 39 games so far in his relatively young career. 2,185 runs at an average of 47.5. Excellent. 12 50s, only the 400s, but obviously the 231 high score recently. It does help that thing. And you've got to say this is an ascending player with ascending stats and ascending profile. Somebody that England, I think, will be looking at, and I can't believe that they'll look past him for the first squad of the summer. Whether he plays, I don't know, but I think that he will be at least in the conversation, and I would expect him to be an option in the squad.
I think they will be listening. They've got to be listening to this. Yeah, that'd be really nice. Subscribe while you're there, ECB.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll talk to you about how to fix English cricket. He's ranked 2 on this list because we both ranked him at 2, saying he is the next cab off the rank. He's good enough. His body, his work is big enough now, and he looks quality. He looks so good in his innings, scoring 200 odd. Great drives, front foot, back foot, pulls well. Just looks like a Test match cricketer. Body language is exceptional on the cricket field. 1,674 runs, 51% of his runs come in boundaries. Balls per dismissal. James Bracey, if you're listening, 114.13 is the highest out of anyone to bat at top 3 that we've said. 12% of his innings turn into a century, 35% turn into a 50. I just am very, very high on this. I gave him a 167 performance plus rating for top 3 to 6 batsmen in county championship cricket. That ranks 4th overall during this time period. Number 1 is the person we're going to mention next. It's just exceptional, but it's even across the board. The only thing that jumps out, everything is 60% better than league average. 60. Except his getting out less than 10 is 80% better than league average. I just think there's so much good stuff about this. He's 24 years old. The time is right. The time is now. Dan Lawrence has tweaked his hamstring at Essex, which we didn't mention on yesterday's podcast.
Yikes.
He batted, I think he batted with a runner. I couldn't watch it because it was on Warwickshire's website. Thank you very much, Warwickshire. The time's right for me. The time is right to push the button, give him a run, see what he's got. He was head and shoulders above anything else in the Lions team that I saw in Australia.
Yeah, I think it's time. Time has come, hasn't it? And whether Root stays at 3, whether Bohannon drops in at 3, that's where he is batting for Lancashire. So it's not trying to crowbar a number 5 into 3 like we have done on other times. It is somebody that does bat at 3, but equally, I'm sure you could put him at 4 if you decided to continue with Joe Root at 3. And I do, for what it's worth, think that he does get the nod ahead of Lawrence and Pope as we start the Test summer. So number 1, it has to be Joe Root, 117 Test match appearances, just shy of 10,000 Test runs, an average just shy of 50. The man is a superstar. He's 10 years into his England career, just relinquished that captaincy. He took the number 3 a little bit against what his instincts are, because he wanted to lead from the front, which is the right thing to do. I think it was the right thing to do for him to step down as captain. He's still going to be playing, but is he number 3 or is he going back to number 4, Rob?
I think it depends on Lawrence. If Lawrence is injured, I move Joe Root to 4 and I bring Bohannon in at 3.
Yeah.
Play people, and we've spoken about this before on the pod, play people in the position that is right for them. Joe Root is exceptional. He averages 41 opening the batting in Test cricket. He averages 39.67 at 3, 51 at number 4, 67 at number 5, and 40 at number 6. Those are just insane numbers for one of the best cricketers we've ever had.
Yeah, I forgot about Joe Root, the opener, when you said that.
Yeah, well,
that
he scored 180 against the Aussies, right? Opening the bat. I think he's on this list I've just put on screen, which he is not on this list that I've just put on screen. That is the wrong list. You had one job to provide a list of England players that you ranked, and Joe Root was in the top 10 England players of all time. Since 1900, I went back onto the stats, used the Performance Plus matrix to be able to work out who's good and who's not. And he was a top 10 player, and he's the best player, definitely, of like the last 2 or 3 generations by a long way. So Joe Root, exceptional. And what's really interesting is he's the best player in world cricket, Test match cricket. But when he comes back to play Red Bull County Championship cricket, it's not a case of he switches off and just gets a payday or gets a knock. He's still the best guy. He's got a Performance Plus rating of 200. He's 100% better than an average county championship cricketer. Average is 58. His hundreds per innings is 260. 18% of his innings. He scores over 50 and 45% of his innings, Rich. He's a run-scoring machine no matter what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question of him being the number 1 on this list, obviously. But will he bat at 3? That's the big question, isn't it? So Josh Bohannon for us is the next man up. Plenty of options. Who else, though? Like we said, who did we miss?
It's just really interesting. I'm just sharing my screen for people watching on YouTube so they can see. But there's just good players all the way down the list. It's just trying to work out who's got the next step up to be able to do it. Ben Brown's a player that we spoke about in high regard on the podcast. He's ranked 11th on the Performance Plus, but he's not a number 3, someone that will come in. You're asking guys to perform a different role, and there's only so many guys at number 3. I think there's one here that's going to fit in around this England middle order, Rich, and that's David Bedingham. You know, maybe not a number 3, but a 4 or 5 in the England lineup, a Performance Plus of 143.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big one, though, isn't it? I mean, we thought Simon Harmer was only a year or so away from qualifying, and then look what happened. So who knows what David Bedingham will decide to do? He's obviously spent quite a bit of time over in England, hasn't he? Played at Plumtree in the local leagues around here, and now playing his cricket in their county for Durham. So it'd be great, wouldn't it, if someone like him steps up? Suddenly that conversation changes again, doesn't it? But for now, I think there's a little bit of a lack of quality of number 3 bats in county cricket, isn't there? But the list we've put together, I think, is the ones you can consider. I think outside of that, I think I'm struggling to justify players in that list, unless an opener drops to 3, perhaps. That's maybe the only other way we'd find somebody in this list. But yeah, it's good to see what England have got. We're not looking bad, all right? We're not looking bad.
We're not looking bad at all, mate.
Yeah, it's all about who steps up and who gets that opportunity and can they take it. We've had too many players over the last few years that get the opportunity and don't take it. We've suddenly got to a point where we're accepting averages within the 20s with our top 6, apart from Joe Root and Ben Stokes even. So yeah, we want to see these players step up and do much better.
We definitely do. So that's our depth chart of number 3s in England. So we've got the openers, how they look, who are now on screen if you're watching on YouTube. And we'll add to that the number 3s. The next podcast we do on England Watch will be going through potentially who the next England head coach is, because hopefully it's announced by then. It'd be great to talk about that. But also around who's good, who's the 4, who's the 5, who's the 6. Then we'll move on to all-rounders, wicket-keepers, pace bowlers, spin bowlers over the next period of time. So if you've enjoyed it, everyone, please rate, review, subscribe wherever you are listening. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next time.